Greetings, Grandfather. Now, there is something I'd like you to consider. We've spoken about this before here and there, but it's time to do this again. It's time to continue your experiences of interspecies communication. For some of you, you can try this with your pet, dog, cat, bird, horse, whatever you have. But for most of you, I recommend you do this with a wild creature, meaning one who is not entirely dependent upon you giving them food, even though you might share a little bit with them when you can, perhaps. So it could be a squirrel, it could be a bird, it could easily be a many-legged, as we say, meaning you call insect. But I recommend the term many-legged because it describes the reality for them. Not all of them, but for them. And it is not a word that is, how can we say, dripping with judgment. All right? So, this is what I recommend. Either seek out one of these beings in the outdoors, or in some cases it might be in the indoors, or engage with your pet a little bit. This is what I'd like you to do. Perhaps you have a cat or a dog, that's fine. But if you don't, then maybe there's a squirrel or a bird or a beetle. That's fine. You don't need to touch them, don't interfere with their life. But if you see them, first say good life. Always try to say that out loud. It's a blessing, it's a salutation, it's a greeting. All of those. Then say this: I am asking if I may interact with you for a moment at a distance. Of course, if it's your pet, they might rush over to you. That's okay too. But if it is a pet and they walk away, okay, don't do this with any being that is sleeping, as far as you can tell. But if they are awake, assuming they are awake, if they suddenly get up and walk away, that means they're busy, not that they don't like you anymore. And it would be the same with a squirrel or a bird. They're busy. If you cannot find a being like that, then you can use a bush, all right? Not a tree for this one. You can use a flower, you can use a weed, something like that. But always say that thing that I recommended, and then interact in the following way. First, if you are standing, then say, I can move like this. Then move very gently in some fashion. I'm showing this motion because of sitting down. But if you are standing, then you can move your legs or your body a bit more. In other words, make some gentle motion of ease that almost looks like dance. All right? But don't do a dance itself. And don't make any abrupt or sudden gesture. It has to be like this. Gentle, flowing. All right? Just a little bit is fine. And then say, can you do something like that? You understand if this is a tree, meaning a small tree, a bush, or a weed, perhaps a dandelion? It might make a slight move that is imperceptible because plants can move on their own. Did you know that? They can. And it doesn't always have to do with the wind. More often it doesn't. But if it is an animal, a beetle perhaps, an ant, See if they do that. Very often they will do that first, and you may notice it. And if you do, say, "Thank you for showing me what you can do. I can do this too." Try to speak to them, because while they may not directly understand your language, they will have an intermediary that will help them to know what it is you are saying, though they may not be able to do what you are requesting at any given time. But if they have begun that, it is part of a universal greeting to show that you are a conscious physical being. That's what that's for. Have you ever seen an ant stop and do this kind of thing? You don't know what they're doing? Or a beetle? If you're looking at them and they're looking at you, they're essentially saying, "I am a conscious physical being." And if you go like that afterwards, you don't have to do what they did. It is like a greeting. It is like you saying, "I'm a conscious physical being also." Did you know that? Probably not. Try to engage with one or more like that. All right?